All right, hey, happy Halloween from the Mascoma Wood Shop. I want to take a moment here to talk about something quick and easy you can do for your shot putters for drilling, particularly for indoor track or in the spring before you get outside. Take a look below me. We have a 4x8 sheet of plywood. In this case, it's 3/4 inch CDX. It doesn't really matter what it is as far as that goes. A typical sheet good in the United States anyways, 4 feet wide, 8 feet long. If it's OSB or 1/2 inch, doesn't really matter. This happens to be 3/4. Has a little bit of a warp to it, so I might prefer 1/2 inch. But if somebody has a 4x8 sheet of plywood, go for it. So as you can see here, I have this 4x8 sheet of plywood. I have handmade a toe board. We're going to have a separate video on how to make the toe board in a moment. And I did an extra thing about putting this this little piece here on the back. Not terribly important. Now you go, wow, it's not a full circle. The reality is you probably don't need it to be a full circle. This is good enough because most of your throwers, if they're right-handed, you know, the key of this is they're getting used to the toe board. They can put their foot right up against it. They get under. If they're a left-handed thrower, they're doing this. They can get used to this toe board. And most, you know, in progression, they might start doing a stand throw. They might start doing a shuffle. If they're a glider, you know, they'll be doing a glide. If you see, all of that is right here in the middle of this 4x8. Occasionally, you might have a rotator that gets over here and they want to fill this. Well, that's pretty easy to accomplish. You could just add a little wing and they can put their foot on that for your taller rotators, you know, so they can start here as they come around. But that's an easy fix. We could also have a deluxe version with wings on it, but this is it. A 4x8 sheet of plywood. This is completely optional. The toe board is important. We're going to talk about that. This is what we're making, and one other thing that you can do is put some kind of rubber mat on the bottom. I'm thinking old yoga mats would be perfect, maybe some doormats, something that's non-skid. If you're throwing in a gym, you know, you don't want to damage the floor, of course, that would get you kicked out of pretty quick, but put some yoga mats on it, and that rubber, so when kids come in and slide on it, it's not sliding. We will put 45-pound plates on this when some of our bigger throwers are getting on it, but this is super simple to make, and as you notice, you can easily fold it up and stick it in the corner when you're done, and it's a great resource for your throwers, so I wanted you to see one in action. Hope you make one for your folks. So we're going to talk how I make a toe board. You can make it, it'd be easier to make it out of, say, go down and get like a 2x12 or a 2x10, 3 pieces of that about 4 feet long would be perfect. So I guess you went about a 12-footer and you cut it and made it 4-foot pieces. That'd be an easy way to make it. I don't have a 2x10 handy. What I have is a bunch of this random pine 1x6, but that's going to work just fine. I think you'll get the idea of it. So what I can do here, I've already showed you how I draw the arc with the Shinn circler. I am now going to just take this and I'm going to line this up. You can see I'm just sort of lining this up at the edge like so. I got that edge. I'm going to put this board here. I'm going to put this board here. I sort of align it there. I come back just like I did before. I mark this little centerpiece. I come here. I put the magic marker in the hole or my pencil or whatever I'm drawing with, and I can make the radius here. Now, what you can see is that I'm going to run into a little bit of a problem here. That I'm actually a little too thin right here. So what I'm going to do now is like, oh, that's just too much. I'm going to take a Shinn circular width. I don't know if that's 2.5 inches or whatever it is. And I'm just using this to line up so somewhat square. Does it really matter? Probably not. Could I use like a 4-foot builder's level right here? Yes, I could. But I'm just doing something kind of random. I shifted this up a little bit, and I'm just going to go back and redraw the exact thing that I just did. But I'm just showing you how you can make an adjustment to make whatever you have on hand work. Like I say, again, a 2x10 would be perfect for this. You buy a 12-footer, cut it into 3/4 foot lengths, and you got it. But you can see now, I've made my arc, and I'm not gonna bother about this, and I have enough wood to go ahead and cut this. You obviously could cut it with a jigsaw. I'm a wood shop teacher, so I'm going to cut it with a bandsaw. But when you're done, you're going to have something that looks something like this. So you're just going to cut this thing out. But a jigsaw would work just fine. You could sand it. I could take this piece once it's cut and use it as a template and mark it out. Now, a regulation toe board is 4 inches tall. If I used 2x material, like if I got that 12-foot 2x10, nominally they call it 2x, but it's really only 1.5 inches. So if you stack that up, you'd be at 4.5 inches. Slightly too tall, but probably okay. If you had some, this stuff is 3/4 inches, so I can stack it up. I happen to have a planer here, so I can control the thickness perfectly. But honestly, you'd be giving your athletes, if you're at between 3.5 and 4.5 inches, you are giving your athletes a nice advantage because they can get used to working the toe board. Have them get used to, they can hit it, they can touch it, they can rub a legal throw, they can run their foot, they can't touch the top, but if they can get used to, particularly like gliders and such, hitting this toe board and having to save the throw, they can get right to the toe board and max out, and they're not intimidated by it. I've seen kids that you want them to get used to working with a toe board so they don't trip over it. I think I can sort of just chat through this portion of it. I cut however many levels I want to get in that 3.5, 4 inches. 4 inches would be ideal, but I can stack it up and get it close. What I would just do, put a little bit of glue on here and drywall screw it. Little bit of glue, drywall screw it. And then once the drywall screws will hold it in place while the glue dries, but the glue will be plenty strong. Then I can just take some long screws, come underneath and screw it up from underneath. Again, I could put some glue down first, and I could have this very solidly mounted toe board to my for your indoor shot circle. So this is something you can do, pretty easy to do, could be done very inexpensively, particularly if you ask for donations, and you can be a nice advantage that you give your throwers this indoor season. So if it's something that you consider doing.